And it's now 11 minutes after 7, time for us to get into the political point. The fate of Senate Minority Leader Moses Wetangula hangs in the balance. ODM party, an affiliate party of NASA coalition, is determined to kick out Wetangula and have CIS Senator James Orengo installed as his successor. ODM senators are accusing Wetangula of arrogance and exclusion. But embattled Wetangula has vowed to stay put and fight to the bitter end, accusing ODM of witch hunt. Still, the three NASA core principals, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, have vowed to pursue the NASA reforms agenda with or without Raila Odinga. And already a section of coast leaders have thrown their weight behind Deputy President William Ruto's 2022 State House race. Which way for NASA? Welcome to the political point. And let me start by introducing the three fine gentlemen that we have here this morning to have that conversation. To my extreme left, we have, Brian Mutie, who's a political analyst. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mike.
We also have Professor Wajakoya, who's an advocate and a lawyer. Thank you for joining us. And last but not least, Philip Magal, who's also a lawyer. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the political point this morning. Let me start with you, Brian Mutie, on the current state of NASA and your thoughts as to what really lies ahead for them.
Thank you, Mike. I think, first of all, we have to realize that politics is a dynamic game. And what we are experiencing today might not be the same case tomorrow, because we were just the other day having an intact NASA fraternity. But today we are having a NASA which is actually, ostensibly looking in tatters. And the reason being that there are no permanent enemies in politics and no permanent friends in politics, because no one would actually imagine that Raila would actually be on the same bed with the Jubilee. And for that matter, I think what is happening in NASA is still, a sort of a shock, a political shock, because they are yet to come into terms that Baba pulled such kind of a surprise move onto them. And I'm told by my intels that, of course, Baba had to do what he did because he had learned something that, of course, the three were trying to isolate him, and he pulled it faster before they could actually open the lid and surprise him. And therefore, what Baba did was actually something that he wanted to, like a sort of vengeful, move that he did. But again, we have to appreciate that NASA itself right now without Baba, I think it's a weakened outfit, because
do you think it's just weakened, or is it almost annihilated, basically done with?
To me, it's weakened. If the three principles are going to stick together, they can stick together, but with that kind of, lubricant in the name of Baba, I think it's going to face some hurdles in terms of its locomotion and its efficiency. Because Baba is NASA and NASA is Baba to me. Initially, we could say that Musalia Kalonzo ticket was a formidable ticket, but that was only strong if Baba was also in the picture. Musalia Mudavadi Kalonzo ticket.
So Baba remains the kingmaker.
Is the kingmaker here now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Philip, let me come to you. Do you agree that NASA is weakened? And secondly, if at all the three hold together, are they not losing opportunities to gather their people and gather that momentum now as we're speaking?
Of course, NASA is very much weakened. Without Raila, basically there is no NASA. But what has weakened it even further is the stance taken by the three co-principals who are left in NASA. They have been dilly-dallying. They are not sure where they actually do belong. The other day they were calling for a meeting with the president. They say they also want to be part of the negotiation. Before that, they had developed cold feet and skipped Baba's swearing in. And right now, we really don't know where they are. Yesterday, Kalonzo was giving an excuse that Baba wasn't able to make it to Ukambani because of a flight mission. They ought to take, if they are to be credible, if the people are to take them seriously, they need to reorganize, they need to re-strategize, they need to come with a focused way in which they are going to do what it is they propose to do, that is to play an effective opposition role. As it is, we have no opposition. At least we are not sure, but I mean, the feeling we're getting is that we have no opposition, and there's a vacuum to be filled.
Does that mean that Baba then predominantly has been the opposition? The rest have just been flower girls, as it were?
Remember, Baba is not only an individual, he's also an idea. He's an expression of many intuitive and familiar ideas to Kenyans. He stands for the opposition in Kenya. He's the doyen of the opposition politics, as it were. He stands for democracy, he stands for transparency. And even now, you know, Kenyans are at a loss. They are wondering, you know, what becomes of some of those critical issues that we've been fighting for. What becomes of them now? Who's going to fight for them? And it is this state of confusion that really Kenyans need to deal with. We need to come out of this vacuum as fast as we can and forge a way forward, come with a clear strategy to move forward and address the issues afflicting
All right,
the
let me
country.
come to you, Prof. And you've worked and lived in many different countries and possibly have looked at many political scenarios. Is Kenya's political scenario right now unique in the sense that we had a very protracted, very divisive electioneering period, and almost with a swipe, a magic swipe, or let's call it a magical handshake, things are suddenly changing. We see politicians, case in point, for example, the likes of Aisha Juma, who, you know, are very huge critics of Jubilee, suddenly throwing their weight behind the deputy president. Is that unique to Kenyan politics?
Those are people who are misfits in society. They have taken money for them to go out there and do what they are doing.
Could that be then the unique difference in Kenyan politics?
Well, it's money talks, and those MPs are poor. They have come from
but with all
poverty.
fairness, Professor, we don't know if they've received
No,
money.
I'm telling you, and I will stand to be sacrificed. Those are people who have taken money to go and swing. Why couldn't they come out from their houses in the morning and say, we are going to support Ruto? Why wait until Ruto went there and then they come out and say that we are here forever to support you? Those are misfits in society.
So you honestly believe that it's a bribe that probably has gotten them there?
Yes.
It's nothing that... Brian, would you like to...
Well, Professor,
serious accusations which we have no proof for.
I think they remain just allegations, as you have actually, you know, rightly put it, because we are not privy to the the dynamics of what transpired on that material day before Issa Juma, of course, made those declarations. But again, your question, which actually is delved on whether this is a unique issue on Kenyan perspective, I would want to say that first of all, the merger between the ODM and the Jubilee, to me, it's good for the economy, it's good for tranquility, it's good for stability of the country, it's good for investment, but it's bad for politics. And I would say that because if you look at our system, which is purely presidential system, Mike, it has serious deficiencies that need to be addressed. And these deficiencies, of course, are anchored on that perspective, which brings the aspect of a lack of a strong, formidable opposition outfit. And I've always been championing for that kind of change intact in terms of our governance structure, where we can actually create a system which is a sort of hybrid, which includes both elements of parliamentary and presidential system, where we could have, formidable or substantive leader of the opposition, which is lacking because he's able to check the government of the day in terms of balances and all that. But now, when you look at ODM and the Jubilee on the same bed, I think this is just what we can equate with the Democrats and the Republicans being on the same wing, which is bad for politics.
Totally unheard of.
Totally unheard of. But when it comes to matters of tranquility, national stability, issues of investment, and that attractiveness in the eyes of investors, it still looks good. But we are asking ourselves, who is going to put the government of the day in checks? Because every government would be put in checks and the balances to ensure that it gives that accountability and transparent, outfit. If that's lacking, then I think it's a worrying trend. Now the question is whether the remaining trio of NASA are able to, put that kind of, formidable, aspect of governance in terms of checks and the balances on the government of the day. If you ask me, I'll tell you no, because they lack the impetus, they lack the energy, and they lack a lot of issues that they need to have to give them that kind of impetus to stand out and put the government of the day in checks and the balances. And to me, I think it's a sorry state for the politics, but it's good for the economy and matters of cohesion.